requirement that federal workers return to full-time in-person work immediately.
It's back in the office for federal workers. A statement on the White House website saying, in part, heads of all departments and agencies in the executive branch of government shall terminate remote work arrangements and require employees to return to work in person full-time.
Perhaps nothing sums up remote work better than this selfie of a federal employee jumping on a call in a bubble bath. The employee was a manager at the Department of Veterans Affairs who posted the picture on social media with the caption, "My office for the next hour." The Ernst investigation discovered the remote work has resulted in American taxpayers receiving inadequate services, including service backlogs and delays, unanswered phone calls and emails, and no-show appointments.
And if you would take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, that would help us to reach our 10K subscriber goal by the end of February. At Southern Confidential, we dive into political corruption, crime, and thought-provoking commentary. We would love to have you as a part of the SC family. And now, back to our story. To work from home or not to work from home? That's the question dividing employees, leaders, and even entire industries. On one side, remote work has given people the freedom to reclaim hours once lost to grueling commutes, find flexibility for family responsibilities, and avoid the distractions of office small talk. It's made workplaces more inclusive for those juggling life's demands while boosting productivity for employees who thrive in quieter, focused environments. But on the flip side, have we sacrificed something essential along the way? Some people report that the losses are hard to ignore. Office culture, the camaraderie, the rapport, and the relationships that formed the backbone of so many professional networks has been fractured. For some people, remote work feels isolating, creating an island effect where collaboration and connection fade. And let's not forget the toll on the local economies. Cafes, restaurants, and public transit systems, once powered by office workers, are now struggling to survive. Does remote work drive efficiency, or does it alienate us from the culture that shaped our workplace? Trump's executive order could be a turning point or a setback. Will this move pull us back 20 years, reinforcing traffic jams, calling in sick days, and wasted productivity around the water cooler? Or have remote workers become too comfortable, unintentionally sidelining the accountability and structure that traditional office environments provide?
There are over 140,000 federal civilian workers in the state. That's according to the Congressional Research Service. About 10% of all federal employees work remotely. I spoke with one of those employees here in Baltimore who says she's worked for the government for 15 years. She declined to show her face or reveal her name.
For me, working from home, I have the opportunity to start early. I have the opportunity to work a little bit later. I won't have that flexibility going into the office.
She, along with many others on social media, have the same worry that traffic will get much worse as employees go back to in-person work.
I commute from Baltimore to DC. So for me, it's a matter of catching the MARC train. And the unpredictability of that, I can only imagine how it will impact the DC transit system.
So what happens now? Will more people walk away from the rigid corporate systems to chase entrepreneurship driven by the desire to remain in control of their schedules? Or is there a middle ground, a hybrid model that respects both flexibility and collaboration, finding balance in this post-pandemic world? So let's talk about this elephant in the room, the infamous work-from-home employee who took a selfie in a bathtub, proudly calling it his home office for the next hour. Now, while it may have seemed like a harmless joke to him, this behavior was a glaring example of poor judgment and unprofessionalism. Sharing such a moment with the world not only undermines the credibility of telecommuters everywhere, but also handed critics of remote work a golden opportunity to claim that telework breeds laziness and a lack of accountability. Now, keep in mind, guys, this isn't about Democrats versus Republicans or Trump versus Biden. This is about facts. It's about people's lives and their livelihoods. With the economy in an absolute freeze and families already struggling financially, pulling government employees back into the office might push some people over the edge. And let's be honest, was customer service really thriving before remote work? Or are we blaming the wrong thing for a mess that's been in the making for years? Now, this was a government employee, but unfortunately, moments like this don't just stay within the bubble of government criticism. They're likely to fuel a larger movement, emboldening private organizations to reevaluate their own remote work policies. This debate isn't just about where we work, it's about how we work, live, and thrive. One thing is clear: whether you're for or against this movement, the decision to end remote work will reshape office culture and redefine the future of work itself. But to be fair, there's another angle to consider: the cost. The government is bleeding money maintaining empty office buildings, still paying for leases, utilities, and other overhead costs for spaces that just sit unused. Are these empty desks a symbol of efficiency lost, or an opportunity to rethink the way we manage our resources? So here's a fair question: are we moving forward, finding balance, or simply reintroducing problems that we thought we left behind? This moment could be a chance to redefine work, but only if we're willing to ask the right questions and to challenge the status quo. So here's the $1 million question: is remote work really broken? Does pulling government employees back into the offices actually fix the problem?
With the stroke of a pen, President Donald Trump wants to see federal office buildings bustling again, busy again, just like this building right here at L'Enfant Plaza next to the metro station. Well, from restaurants to transit agencies, everyone across the DMV is now working on contingency plans, anticipating an influx of federal workers. Metro trains and the Beltway could soon be more crowded, but it could also mean more revenue.
Let's be real. Not everyone is cut out for remote work. I've heard of people who are binge watching TikTok videos, whipping up 3-course dinners, taking midday naps, and even meeting friends for long, leisurely lunches, all during work hours. But here's the question: are these people the outliers? Are they the anomalies? And should everyone pay the price for the behaviors of a few? So here's what I think. I think that Trump's move to bring federal employees back into the office may have something to do with the economy as well as with customer service. So we do have to look at the bigger picture. With public transit systems hemorrhaging money and businesses near federal offices struggling to stay afloat, the economy argument for bringing workers back is real. Washington, D.C.'s metro system, for example, has seen ridership down by nearly 50%, and small businesses in the area are reporting revenue losses up to 30%. So, pulling employees back into the office could give these sectors a much needed boost. And now let's talk customer service. From the Internal Revenue Service's backlogs to delayed passports, federal services have been struggling, and there's no denying that, right? However, these issues didn't start with remote work. Government systems have been underfunded, understaffed, and overwhelmed for years. So, is ending remote work really the solution, or is it just a band-aid on a much bigger wound? So, should we punish an entire workforce for the behaviors of a few? Studies have shown that remote workers can be just as productive, if not more, when managed correctly. So, is this about fixing productivity or is it about optics? Because let's be honest, there's always been a mix of stellar and less than stellar performers in every office, remote or not. Now, here's something, guys, to think about. And here's the twist. This isn't just about federal workers, guys. If the government can pull its workforce back into the office, then private companies might start doing the same thing. Remote work has been a game changer for millions of people, offering flexibility, improved work-life balance, and financial savings. But with rising concerns about productivity and oversight, are we looking at the end of remote work as we know it? First things first, not all government employees are bad remote workers. The Internal Revenue Service, Social Security Administration, Homeland Security, and even the Department of Veteran Affairs all pivoted to telework during the pandemic. Now, for many, this was a lifeline, but now employees across massive agencies are being called back into the office. Thousands of people are packing up their home setups, adjusting their lives, and returning to in-person work, whether they want to or not. And of course, we can't ignore the cultural shift. Remote work challenged traditional ideas about what it means to be productive, but now Trump is signaling a return to those traditional values: commutes, cubicles, and in person oversight. Well, love it or hate it, ripple effects of this decision could reshape how we work for years to come. But to be fair, guys, we do have to look at both sides. Not everyone is a perfect telecommuter, and remote work isn't without its flaws. But is pulling government employees back into the office the solution that we need? Or are we just scapegoating remote work for problems that have been festering for years? This decision impacts more than just federal employees, guys. It impacts families, local economies, and even the future of work itself. So I'll ask you again, did Trump get it right? Is this the first step to fixing a broken system, or is it a step backwards for progress? And remember, guys, this is not a Trump or Biden bashing session. This is about what's best for the families in our country. So, thanks to the lazy, the entitled, the government worker who thought his bath was a home office and then shared it on social media, and of course, the TikTok addicts binge watching videos on company time. They've handed corporate leaders and even Trump the perfect excuse to say the problem is remote work, because obviously blaming the workers is the easiest fix, right? So let's be real, guys. I see it from both sides. Sure, in-person workers will always be essential, and remote work isn't for everyone. But why penalize the majority for the missteps of a few? Or better yet, why not call it what it is? An economy boosting strategy disguised as a get back to the office movement, conveniently tied to whatever agenda is on the table. So tell me what your thoughts are, because personally, I can see it from both sides, but I do think there's a hidden agenda. And thanks for tuning in to Southern Confidential, where we dive into political corruption, crime, and thought-provoking commentary. And please remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We'd love to have you as a part of the SC family. And as always, thanks for watching Southern Confidential, and I will see you next time.